And here I'm showing pictures from the next year, 1961, where we are up at basically the same area, but this is in the eastern Arctic islands, where we are staying for approximately 10 days, setting up an automatic weather station on one of the islands. And we have 4 people over there, 2 surveyors who are installing the equipment and surveying for the proper position, plus the mechanic and myself. And here I'm showing the salami that was hanging in the helicopter. We are 2 guys sleeping in the helicopter, the mechanic and I. We are sleeping in the helicopter, and 2 guys in the tent. Here's an Arctic fox, which was kind of a nuisance up there because the tent we had set up, we had 2 tents, one for the sleeping and one for equipment. And the Arctic fox would come at night when we were asleep. There was no night up there. Would come and chew the rope over, and the tent would collapse on us. I guess there was some salt or whatever on the rope, which it liked chewing. And here we are flying across. This is a Sikorsky helicopter. We had some modern navigation equipment on those, so we could actually really pinpoint our positions. Also, from a navigation point of view, it was considerably easier. In the Bell helicopter, when we navigated strictly by the sun. We had no compass up there because the compass would point in the wrong direction. We were, as I said earlier, 300 miles north of the magnetic North Pole. Here we're coming into a seismographic camp. They were moving around this year here in this particular place with dog sleds, and showing Ortea helicopter, the company I work for. And we would move the dog sled with them occasionally from place to place, and then they would move slowly across the ice wherever they were going with a dog team. And sometime when we moved those dogs, which I will show you later, it was not that easy. And as I said earlier, the magnetic North Pole, we about 300 miles north of the magnetic North Pole, so the compass would point in one direction and supposedly point south when we were going north. But it didn't work that way. The compass would just aimlessly float around. So in the Bell helicopter, where we had really no gyro compass, which we had in the Sikorsky, we had no way of navigating except by the sun, which we did continuously. You put a piece of plywood around compass rose up in the cockpit, and there was a big bubble there in the Bell helicopter, and the sun would shine through it, and we put a stick in the middle of the compass rose and more or less fly the shadow. Pretty primitive, but it worked though. And the weather usually didn't stop us much. Here we had a carburetor fire on one of the Sikorskys. It was down on one of the islands, Lockheed Island. And it was pretty severe case actually, because we actually lost that helicopter. It was unusable for, I would say, for about a month until we got a new engine up there. It was not that easy to operate up there installing engines. Here we are showing for the main base camp at the Isaksen, the weather station, where they had all the equipment to move the new engine, which was flowing into Isaksen, and move it with forklift and so forth over to the other helicopter to fly down to the island. But when we were down on that island, it was all done by handcraft and hand power to put the engine on it. And this was in kind of in the summertime, where it was extremely muddy. The ground was not frozen. They actually had the thermofrost up there continuously. I would say about 2 or 3 feet down below the mud. It was always ice, hard, frozen ground. Here I'm showing some pictures. Now we're down at the island, Lockheed Island, and where we are trying to install that engine, which we succeeded in doing. There was 2 guys from Edmonton who came up and who were in charge of installing them. But as I said earlier, even with bad weather and no compass and so forth and so forth, the weather really did not put much of a stop to our flying. I basically flew about 200 hours a month up there, which is a good indication that we didn't stop much for anything.